Good. It'd be good to hear a woman's voice during all of this.
Thank you. I'm Julia Chарлton, Hong Kong corporate finance lawyer. I think it was mentioned that there's a lot of money in the world and that money is not the big problem. But I would like to ask the panel, and in particular the Hong Kong Financial Secretary, whether you think there's a role in Asians' capital markets, and I particularly think of the Hong Kong capital market, which, as we heard, played such a role in China's development, providing more capital, particularly equity capital, throughout Asia, throughout Eurasia to Russia, and would that be regarded as part of the rebalancing by actually providing possibly renminbi-linked funding through equity markets so that everybody could have a win-win situation in the growth of these markets?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and there are clear shifts, private equity money, private banking, from Switzerland to Singapore and Gongkong. We could see this trend last 3 years. It's also reaction for some sanctions from, of course, from U.S. authorities. Also, we could see the clear shift of Russian money to this area, and also, of course, and more financial institutions in Russia looking for Hong Kong Stock Exchange, and some financial institutions not only in China but in Singapore, first of all, as the partners for new capital for Russian private businesses.
Yeah, Julia, thank you for the great observation. Actually, Hong Kong stock market currently the size is over $4 trillion, which is almost 12 times of our GDP. So that gives you a sense of the scale. And in terms of funds raised through initial public offerings, we have ranked well number 1 6 times in the past 10 years. So the Hong Kong capital market served very well the development of China, and we benefit tremendously from the growth of China. But the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, the ambition is not just to serve the mainland, but Asia, and in a certain extent, global. I mentioned about the developing Asia. So in the coming years, we will continue our efforts on that respect. And actually, 2 Russian companies are listed on our stock exchange. Apart from equities, it is also very important to develop the bond market and also to develop private equities, venture capitals, because the purpose of the financial center is to channel money to the real economy, as my learned colleague mentioned earlier. So we are working very hard on multiple fronts in order to make Hong Kong a top international financial center to serve Asia and the world.
Just maybe I totally agree. It's very important, Gongkong, Singapore financial market, but maybe it's not possible overestimate. All financial markets are interlinked. Still, London, New York, major financial center. And it's not possible to escape, for example, sanction if you are go for placement for roadshow in Singapore, Hong Kong. It's more or less the same.
Yeah. Okay, come on.
Yeah, I just want to add, I think there are great opportunities on the Hong Kong financial market. It's the point. It's a unique location where the West meets the East, and where all the major Western banks are present, and where the Chinese presence is growing. And but the unlocking of this opportunity will depend on whether the Western banks are following political orders from their capitals, and how the Chinese will go liberalizing their financial account. So these are the 2 key issues that we need the answers to, and then we will say what happens to Hong Kong as a financial center.
Thank you very much. I think